All right, I'd like to thank this panel. And Mr. Ridley Thomas, as a 27-year-old, you could have chose to do something productive, but yet you're here.
Working with this good chairman on this important issue.
Thank you so much. I'd like to call up our last panel then. Mr. Eddie Lau, a member of the Caltrans Small Business Council and California High-Speed Rail Authority Business Advisory Council. Ann Cervantes, registered architect and CAO, Cervantes Design Incorporated. And Ms. Ingrid Merriweather, President and CEO of Merriweather and Williams Insurance and Risk Management Consulting. So if we could get our next panel up. And this panel's topic is ideas for attaining greater diversity in state contracting, options that are consistent with Prop 209. So we're looking forward to this panel answering some of the questions that have been asked by committee members so far. All right, so we'll start with Mr. Lau.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. Chair Stone and members of the committee. My name is Eddie Lau, and I'm a licensed civil engineer and geotechnical engineer in the state of California. I used to own a consulting engineering firm specialized in geotechnical engineering. Prior to Prop 209, my firm employed up to 15 people. My clients included Caltrans, City and County of San Francisco, City of Oakland, and BART, to name a few. After Prop 209, my firm shrunk to 5 people. I no longer had the same opportunities to obtain work from the public contracts. When I retired in 2012, my firm was down to 1 person, me. I have been active in a group called Asian American Architects and Engineers, and a group called Council of Asian American Business Associations, which is an umbrella organization that includes contractors, attorneys, CPAs, architects, and engineering firms. Currently, I'm a member of the Caltrans Small Business Council and also the California High-Speed Rail Authority Business Advisory Council, representing Asian American architects and engineers. I was asked to share my thoughts on ways that we can improve diversity for minority business enterprises, MBE, given the restrictions imposed by Prop 209. Before I speak to that, I would like to add my reflection how Prop 209 has affected Asian American small business. Next year will be the 20th anniversary of Prop 209. I was involved in the movement against Prop 209, and I regret that our fears about Prop 209 2 decades ago have become reality. Only 1/3 of the certified minority business enterprises, MBEs, in California transportation construction industry is still in business today, compared to 20 years ago. Minority firms have experienced a 50% reduction in total awards and contracts from Caltrans. The harm to minority business often hits Asian Americans the hardest. Public contracting is the one area that puts Asian Americans in the center of the affirmative action debate. Asian Americans are usually perceived as high-achieving professionals and left on the sidelines in any discussion of which firms are doing business with government. What Prop 209 did was allow a return to the old practice that existed before affirmative action. Prop 209 helped the old boys network, shut the door on many MBEs, including business like mine. We now have an environment where our government, the keepers of our taxpayers' dollars, cannot make sure that minority business get a fair share of public contracts. Closed-door negotiations and bid meetings have been the norm since Prop 209 passed. After 1996, Caltrans eliminated a race-conscious program and changed to a race-neutral program for the state-funded and locally funded projects. San Francisco similarly eliminated its minority and women-owned business enterprises, public contracting policy, and changed to a race-neutral local business enterprise, what they call LBE program. The similar policy changes were enacted by other government agencies, such as City of Oakland, Alameda County, and BART. However, for federally funded projects from U.S. Department of Transportation, Caltrans continues to maintain a disadvantaged business enterprise program, what we call DBE, where the WBEs and MBEs are considered as DBEs. Caltrans' DBE program was administered for a period of time as an aspiration program rather than a race-conscious program because of the arrears in the preparation of the disparity and availability studies as mandated by the court and challenged by the AGC represented by Pacific Legal Foundation. Statistics on the DBE program kept by Caltrans indicated that in a period from federal fiscal year 2007 through 2013, contracting dollars awarded to DBEs ranged from a low of 3.38% in 2009 to 10.65% in 2013. For the same period, the Asian Pacific shares ranged from a low of 0.17% in 2009 to a high of 1.62% in 2012. In its earliest years, the Asian American community was built on a small business economy. A major part of our success was due to elected officials who believed that affirmative action kept doors open and gave us a fair shot at contracts and projects. Bottom line is that Asian American firms as a whole are worse off now than 20 years ago when Prop 209 passed. Prop 209 have hurt Asian American small business. With that said, we must deal with the reality of Prop 209, so I have a few suggestions on how we can improve diversity within 209's limitations. First, we need to do more of what is happening today. We need more high-level discussion like this among decision makers, like you, about where Prop 209 had made California better or worse. If in fact MWBEs have lost today's equivalent of $1 billion a year, as was shared by the gentleman with the Equal Justice Society report, then we cannot ignore Prop 209. If any other law was proven to be hurting people, to be hurting businesses, there would be more of an effort to fix it. Second, we need the legislative help to instruct state agencies about what can and cannot be done within the confines of Prop 209. I suspect that the state agency may not be doing all they can to give MBEs fair shot because they don't fully understand the regulations. The utilization data for various ethnic groups were seldom published by either the state or local agencies, although it was mandated that such data be maintained. My third suggestion would be for the legislature to demand the publishing of such utilization so that we can better evaluate the consequence of the Prop 209. My most important suggestion is related to states' 25% small business participation goal, which was established by Executive Order S0206 under Governor Schwarzenegger in 2006. Since it was set only as a goal by executive order, agencies are not compelled to meet the 25% SBE participation goal. If they fall short, there are no consequences. It's only an aspiration. I recommend the legislature enact by statute the 25% SB participation in public contracting, because a large number of women and minority businesses also fall under the SBE category. The 25% inclusion law would open doors once again to these businesses without returning afoul of Prop 209. I realize that we can't snap our fingers and make it such a law. I know it's more complicated than that, but based on my decades of experience with public contracting and my experience firsthand with the negative impact of Prop 209, I believe the 25% SBE requirement can be part of a specific solution given the current environment. This is just the first step to rectify the painful experience. Thank you again for having me here today. I welcome any questions from the members.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lau. Ms. Cervantes.
Honorable members, I'm going to talk about on the road how I got here to the point in my life as a minority woman business owner, but also to talk about issues and make recommendations to attain greater diversity in the state contracting. My name is Ann Cervantes. I'm third-generation Mexican-American in California, native Californian. I have a Master's of Architecture from UC Berkeley, a BA in Applied Arts from Cal State Fullerton, and I attended Cerritos Junior College. I'm a little emotional. I always get this way. I'm a registered architect in the state of California for 28 years and a small business owner for 22 years. I have offices in San Francisco and a satellite office in LA. My public sector market is mostly with state agencies and with a majority of it being in educational facilities, K through 12, state colleges, city colleges, and I've tried attempts after 209 with UC System and Caltrans and Park and Rec that have been unsuccessful with the experience into my construction types, in building types and renovation and new construction. I'm the first of both my father's and mother's large families to attend the university and to receive a postgraduate degree. The three things that contributed to my career achievements are the support from my family, but also to responding to no you can't and affirmative action. As a child, my father and mother faced many discrimination where they were not being allowed in the public parks, the churches, or even in commercial establishments. And the only day that Mexicans were allowed at the swimming pool was the day they trained it. I'm a product of affirmative action. I want to make it clear that nothing was handed to me. As a woman of color, I have had to work hard 3 times as hard as to receive commissions and prove that I am capable of doing the work. The organizations that I've provided leadership in the past, I was past president of the San Francisco Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the past board member of the American Institute of Architects, the past board member of San Francisco Planning and Urban Research, past board member in City Hall Preservation Commission, and past board member in the City and County of San Francisco's Department of Building Inspections Board of Examiners. After attaining a professional license, I spent 6 years advocating for minority women-owned business within the American Institute of Architecture, organizing them to provide testimony to justify the existence of a MBWB policy. And 22 years as a women-owned minority business and advocating again for other Latino businesses in construction-related businesses. In 1993 is when I started my business. There was I heard you talk about, well, what were the issues that led up? How come you're here today? Well, it was because of affirmative action that we were able to compete for a city college in a joint venture program. And because of that, it was a large project. It was a $74 million, which we were able to handle in joint venture with other small businesses. But the first thing, and I'm going to bring you in the inside of what happens with your project managers within agencies who don't really follow public policy and opening those doors. The first time that we met for this project is that we were told, we're going to watch you closely. You know, even though we had all the experience of working with community and hot political issues in order to get a building construction. Another instance is when I was working with one of the redevelopment agencies, and the project manager basically said, you weren't our first choice. But yet we're able, and from that point on, they created obstacles all along the way to discredit our participation or our work product. But we were, in both of those situations, we were quite successful. We met the deadlines, and the building opened on time. So in those type of situations, I think it's really important to protect the business owner, or have some way of a policy that state agents' representations don't retaliate on those small businesses, of some way of rectifying a wrong instead of taking it into a legal, putting forth to a legal, legalistic, to a legal thing. So develop a reviewing system to make public sector project managers accountable for their actions of not implementing policy correctly. The other thing is that I respond to many requests for proposals, and it's been my experience in the response to those requests for proposals that there's restrictive selection criteria. And the reason that the examples I'll give you is that sometimes for small businesses, they don't have in-house staff to have 5 buildings they've done that have green building certification, especially with the recession that has just happened. So that kind of restrictive criteria really prohibits my participation or correct scoring on the selection criteria, or a higher score on the selection criteria. So it's another example is that in, I think, under the Park and Rec Department, and this is a related professional, which is a historic architect or historian, to do the Latino context statement for the state of California. In that selection criteria, it refers to federal criteria, which is prohibitive for anybody Latino to have that experience in the state of California in order to record Latino history and first voice. And so with those 2 examples, I would like to make the recommendation that the selection criteria allow equivalent experience, just as highly as exact experience in the RFP process. The other recommendation that I wanted to say is that a lot of decisions are made early on. When different agencies do their capital improvement plans, they're done by large professional firms that don't take into account small businesses and what they can handle or not handle. And these larger firms, consulting firms, don't break these projects down for small businesses. So my recommendation is to augment the capital improvement plan project team with a small business that is familiar in breaking down contracts, which is so important because it starts there in the capital plan. So as I close the comments for this testimony, I cannot forget the battles of our ancestors and the poetic words of Jorge Gonzalez, I am Joaquin. And the ending of his poetry says, I am the masses of people I refuse to absorb. I am Joaquin. The odds are great, but my spirit is strong. My faith unbreakable. I shall endure. I will endure. I'm here today because of people involved in affirmative action policy that allowed me to attend the university and attend graduate school and fulfill my childhood dream of becoming an architect. So I thank you for the time.
Thank you.